And now I'd like to welcome our speaker, Faria Waliad. She is the Business Development Manager of Futurepreneur Canada, and Lindsay Davison. She is the Small Business Advisor of City of Vaughan. I know everyone is so excited right now. I will now pass the mic to Lindsay first to start the session. Lindsay.
Hi, welcome everybody. Just give me one quick second and I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Okay, so thank you so much for the introduction, and so excited to be here. Serena mentioned, my name is Lindsay and I am from City of Vaughan Small Business and Entrepreneurship team, and we are here today to talk about Bootstrapping 101. In terms of the agenda for how my presentation is going to go, so we are going to cover what exactly is bootstrapping, as well as some techniques to get, as you're getting up and running, to implement bootstrapping in your business, in your venture. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about us and our services, and then also going to talk a little bit about our grant programs, which are other ways for you to access funding or financing before we move on over to Faria, so who's my co-pilot for this evening. So without further ado, what is bootstrapping? And bootstrapping is a term used in business to refer to the process of using only existing resources, such as your personal savings, personal computing equipment, or garage space to start and grow a company. Bootstrapping can also include securing non-repayable grants for your business. This approach is in contrast to bringing on investors to provide capital or taking on debt to fund a business's expansion. At its core, it's really about stretching what you've got, whatever that is, to get the job done. So why would you want to bootstrap? So a couple of pros of bootstrapping include you maintaining complete control of your company without any outside influences from investors, for example. So when you do bring on investors into your company, typically you would give influence to them, either in the form of equity, where they have a say in what's going on in your business. And when you bootstrap everything, you have complete control. Another pro of bootstrapping includes avoiding debt. So you won't have a pile of debt or stress of investors breathing down your neck, to allow you to remain laser focused even when times are difficult. So rather than feeling the stress of external forces, you need to pay off the debt, the investors waiting on something, a return on their investment, really you're just making it happen with what you have. So it's a little less stressful in that way. As well, relying on existing resources without loans reduces the need to outlay cash to pay back a loan. So really you're able to keep more money in your business because you're not required to be doling out money at the beginning, which a lot of people do want to keep more money in their business to pay back that loan. And furthermore, by carefully managing money from the beginning, from the launch of your business, you start to create smart spending habits. So that prohibits you or might stop you from unnecessary spending in the future, because you started to lay a solid foundation of what you're going to be doing with your money. So what are some of the cons of bootstrapping? So on the other hand, there are some downsides to declining outside cash infusion. So by trying to keep everything internal. So your growth may be limited or hampered if demand is exceeding your ability to procure inventory or raw materials to sell. So it can be quite costly to get your business up and running. And if your business is booming and demand's really there, but you don't have the cash flow to support through other means such as financing or investment, it can mean that your growth has to shrink and you're not able to meet that demand because you're confined by the money that you do have. And the other major con is that you're assuming almost all the financial risk by not sharing the burden with outside investors. So that means, when other people are investing, they do share some of the risk. And when it's all coming from you, it means that you're taking on 100% of the risk. So while one of the cons was you get 100% control, that means, one of the cons is that you get 100% of the risk. So how can you do bootstrapping in your business? So there are different aspects of a company that can be bootstrapped or managed, with the end goal being making the most out of what you already have. So on the financial side, what that means is keeping your overhead low and avoid paying too much for anything. Or paying sooner than necessary. So some techniques that you can use to implement bootstrapping right away in your business would include avoiding renting workspace until you absolutely need to. Such as when you start hiring employees. And then at that point, look into low cost co-working space to try and keep your payments low. So while it may not be the most glamorous, if you can keep your business in your current living situation or in a garage or in a space where you don't have to pay any money, it's going to save you money in the long run. And then at the point where you really do need a physical location, say because of employees, or maybe you want a place to do business meetings, you can rent low cost co-working space. So you're not going out and buying, spending thousands of dollars in rent on an office space because all of a sudden you have an employee or two. You really want to keep those payments low or non-existent when possible. Another technique that you can use to employ bootstrapping in your business is to evaluate your expenses carefully. So don't splurge on expensive office equipment. Buy used, or if it makes sense, lease to conserve cash. Don't splurge on expensive software or tools. So, while it might be really ideal to think, oh, I've got some money and I can, offset it, I can write it off and get a brand new Apple computer. But maybe you don't need that Apple computer to do the job right away. Rather than spend that money, you're really trying to keep your expenses low. You're not splurging on the most expensive option. You're not splurging on things that you don't really need. And you're not splurging on expensive software or tools. You're looking at the lowest cost option that will get the job done for you. Another technique is to find unconventional ways to solve complex problems. So when every single expense is being scrutinized, you do have to get a little bit creative. So one, it makes you become more resourceful and gritty to build a successful company. So for example, that could be bartering with other companies to get what you need, whether that's products or services, to help you conserve cash. That's an idea of getting a little bit creative. If suppliers are offering a discount for early payment of their invoices, pay those first. So if you can get a discount, pay those invoices first rather than trying to pay another invoice where maybe you're not getting a discount. Pay what you can to get the savings where you can. Another technique is to negotiate with suppliers to get more time to pay. So a lot of times a supplier offer 30 days with no interest. So if that's their starting offer, counter offer and see if you can't get to 45 days no interest or 60 days no interest to help you spread your cash out. And for example, allow you to pay down those invoices where you might get a discount quicker. Another option is when you're looking at, paying down suppliers with, or getting a supplier to agree to longer periods of shorter interest. Some people might bring up factoring. So factoring is when there are companies that will pay to sell your receivables from customers to outside companies. So what they'll do is they'll take your receivables, they'll pay you up front for them, but typically it's only about 75% to 90% of the face value, and they charge a service fee. So if you're ever really stuck for cash, factoring is something that you can do for bootstrapping. You do lose money, but it does help free up money in the interim rather than go out and have to get a loan if you're really, really cash strapped. You can also network, use social media, and reach out to publications to generate free exposure to your business, which is just another example of bootstrapping. So instead of paying someone to highlight your business or paying for PR, if you're really savvy and can use social media or networking or get free press that way, that's another really great way to bootstrap. And finally, if you are creating a really complex solution, so something that's going to take you time to build and to prototype and to bring to market and to validate that, what you want to do in that case, if you're looking at bootstrapping, is you want to find something that you can sell in the meantime. So whether that's a less complex version of the solution that you're creating, a related service, something that you can bring to market faster to offset so that you have revenue or cash flow coming in and not just cash flow going out. So those are all some techniques of how to implement bootstrapping in your business. But at its very base, it's being really scrutinous of your spending activities and not spending money where you don't have to. So that's, in a nutshell, bootstrapping. What I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about who I am and what we do. So I know Tiffany was here at the beginning and she gave a great introduction. So small business entrepreneurship is what we do. Is our mission is to help small and medium-sized enterprises start and grow their business. So we support doing anything from ideation all the way to scaling up. And the reason why I called out Tiffany is just because in Markham, what she's doing is the exact same thing. So essentially what our services are is we do have concierge services. So that's connecting you with the right resources, or, guiding you, you want to know information about regulations or licenses that you may need. We can act as a concierge and point you to that. We can also help you with matchmaking. So whether that be for market validation, if we have a connection to be made, or business development, or just market research, we can do matchmaking that way. We also offer business advisory services. We do training and workshops, so not unlike the workshop today, but we also offer training and workshops throughout the year. And we do run entrepreneurship programs, which I'm going to get into in a minute. So all of the services that we offer, all small business centers across Ontario offer as well. So there's more than 50 of us. And there is one in Markham, for example, which you can connect with Tiffany if you're located in Markham. We're located in Vaughan. There's a location in Richmond Hill. And there's also a location in Newmarket that serves anywhere north of those 3 municipalities. So what we refer to as the upper 6 municipalities in York Region. So there are 4 total small business centers in York Region that you can access help for. So we're a really great resource for you to reach out to, especially when you're starting up, to help you with that business planning, to help you with that matchmaking, and to help get you ready for applying for grants, for example, or to onboard you into our entrepreneurship programs, or to help get you ready to the point where you might need financing, for example, and get you set up to access financing and make sure that you're going to be successful when you do go out and get it. So that's a big part of what we do. We're kind of a one-stop shop to either help you at the stage that you're at, or create connections that can help you at the stage that you're looking to get to. And what else I want to talk to you about while I'm here with you today is our entrepreneurship program. So the first entrepreneurship program I want to talk to you about today, I'm sure many of you are students. So one of our entrepreneurship programs is called Summer Company. And Summer Company is run at all SBECs. So, if you're located at Markham or Richmond Hill or Northern 6 or Toronto, you can reach out to each of your respective small business centers, and they're going to run this program. And what the purpose of the program is to help students between the ages of 15 and 29 who want to run their own businesses over the summer. And so what do you get if you enroll in Summer Company? You can get provincial funding of up to $3,000 to help start your business. You get business advisory services, mentorship opportunities, and training and workshops. So what we'll do is we'll help you prepare your application. If you're successful, you're going to get $1,500 right away to start up and spend on business expenses and get you going over the summer. You're going to engage with us throughout the summer through the training and the workshops and the mentorship. Continue to operate your business, and then at the end of the summer, if you're successful, you're going to get an additional $1,500. We don't take a cut. It's not, we're not an investor. We're just giving you the money to help you start out. The only way that you would lose out is if you're not actually operating your business. You're violating the contract that you sign in order to successfully complete the program. But other than that, it really is free money, except for it's taxable. But that's a really great option for you as potential young people, potential students to get started, especially if you're currently operating on a part-time basis. The expectation would be that you'd be running it full-time over the summer, but if you're looking to scale up and you know you've got nothing else going on, applications typically close. So I realize that says registration closes Friday, September 25th. Applications typically open early in the year, so they'll actually open probably January, February, and they typically close in May to coincide with summer. The earlier that you can get in with a small business center and start working with them, the better. I highly recommend that you reach out to the one that makes most sense for you in the event that you do actually have to go in person to get these services. But that's a really great option, especially if you're a student, you're a young person, and you're not quite ready, or you're still in school, you're not quite ready to start your business full time. So one of our other grant programs, which is specific to Vaughan, is called Digital Boost. So if you are a brick and mortar business and you want help weathering COVID-19 and leveraging new digital tools, this is the program for you. It is open technically to everybody, but the grant component is restricted to people with a physical location in Vaughan who've got who are not home-based businesses. So if that sounds like you, there is an opportunity for you to apply for up to $5,000 in grant funding. There's a couple of other criteria, but if that doesn't sound like you, but you think, hey, I really need help in digital marketing or you know, some operations or maybe some finance, we do have free workshops and training. So you do still have to register for the program. And you know, there are mentorship opportunities, there are business advisory services through that, and all of that can be free through the program, and you don't have to be eligible for the grant component. So we've got a great partner in General Assembly who's helping us deliver these workshops, and they're free to attend, and up to $1,000 in value of internationally recognized training in digital marketing. If you are interested, I believe our website's at the end, but if you go to Vaughan Business, VAUGHAN business.ca/digital boost, we do have a registration there. But this is just an example of a typical entrepreneurship program. It's got a very specific focus, but that, you know, you're going to get training, you're going to get mentorship, and then there is an opportunity for provincial grant funding. So one of our other entrepreneurship programs, which is really quite similar to Digital Boost, is called Starter Company Plus. So again, most or almost all aspects will run a version of this. Their exact eligibility criteria might vary from aspect to aspect or small business center. But the purpose is really to help you start or expand your business. So you can be a newer business, you can have been in business for a couple of years and you're looking to kind of expand. The benefits are very similar to Digital Boost. They just don't necessarily have a really strong digital focus, but same thing, you'd get free workshops and training, business advisory services, mentorship opportunities, and you can apply for up to $5,000 in grant funding. So provincial grant funding specifically. This is open to home-based businesses. You don't have to have a physical location. You don't have to have been in business a certain amount of time. We do look for market validation when we're assessing our grant programs. But if this is something that's of interest to you, especially as you start scaling up, our next general cohort, which is open to home-based businesses, is going to be running in 2021. But you would want to check with the small business center that's closest to you. Typically for these programs, they're looking at local economic impact. So that's not to say that you can't participate in the program. Each small business center sets their own criteria around who can participate and who can't. But specifically with the City of Vaughan, if you're interested in Starter Company Plus, our next general cohort is going to be launching sometime in 2021. And finally, our last entrepreneurship program that we specifically run at the City of Vaughan is called Activate Vaughan Innovation Program. So what's the purpose of this program? It's really to support emerging startups and to drive Vaughan's economy forward. So it's a city-led, market-driven entrepreneurship program that looks to connect high potential startups to large corporate enterprises and key industry leaders. The program is focused around problem-based innovation challenges, around key themes of innovation. So we've previously run one on sustainability. Right now there is a health technology focused innovation challenge happening. So if you're interested at all, it would be at vaughanbusiness.ca/activate. The registration for this program is closing next Friday, October 2nd. And then there will be future innovation challenges around smart city technology that's happening in spring 2021. And then from there on, in the fall of 2021 and spring of 2022, there will be 2 more challenges. The themes are currently being determined. But what this does is it's going to provide you with co-creation, mentorship, and pilot opportunities if you're an emerging startup who's got a really innovative solution in any of these areas. So, or the area for each specific challenge. So the specific health challenge that's happening right now is focused on healthcare innovation, and the partners for this program include Mackenzie Health, Venture Lab, SE Health, and Sterling Industries. And again, there's a smart city focused challenge. If you are interested, again, those co-creation opportunities, pilot opportunities, business advisory, accelerator programming, mentorship, and funding opportunities are all available through this, focused on really innovation. But the idea is that there's, we're hopefully providing something for most types of businesses. So whether you're a student, whether you're a general business, and that would be through a Startup Company Plus, if you have a brick and mortar store, right now our Digital Boost program is going on, or if you're really innovation focused, solution driven, and market driven entrepreneur, then our Activate Vaughan Innovation Program might be the right fit for you. So how do you connect with us? So you can connect with me. So my email's right there. Lindsay.davidson@vaughan.ca, or Julie, who's my colleague who is responsible for many of these entrepreneurship programs, and her email's right there, or you can visit us at vaughanbusiness.ca. All right.
Hi, everyone. I think I'm up next. So it's nice to see a lot of familiar faces from last week. I'm Faria Wali from Futurepreneur. I had the pleasure of working with many of you last week as we navigated through business planning and our business plan workshop. So I'm happy to be back. So today I'm here to talk about Futurepreneur and some of our programs and our financing options that we have available to entrepreneurs between the ages of 18 and 39. So I'm just going to share my screen and then we can get going on that. And I know Lindsay and I are going to take some questions at the end as well. So Lindsay, that was a really great informative session. I loved all your bootstrapping tips. Some of them were really useful to a lot of our entrepreneurs as well. We see a lot of entrepreneurs come through Futurepreneur with brick and mortar businesses and some traditional options as well. So please take some of Lindsay's advice when you're looking to first get started on your business. It doesn't need a lot of money or a lot of investment to test your business, to test your model. But if you do require financing and some extra help, I'm just going to put full screen there. Futurepreneur may be an option for you as well. So I'm going to dive deeper into the program, and then any questions, feel free to enter them in the chat box. Nefis will try to do his best to filter them. It's been an active chat box tonight. And then of course, Lindsay and I are going to do some Q&A at the end as well. So we are Futurepreneur Canada, as many of you were introduced to us last week as well. We are a national nonprofit organization. So we provide financing and mentoring and educational resources to entrepreneurs between the ages of 18 and 39. So today I'm going to walk you through all of the tools and really great free resources that are available to all of you. So this slide here, a little bit out of date. I believe I don't have the most updated one on this one, which is really interesting to note that these numbers have all gone up. My favorite stat on this slide is that 42% of our businesses are majority owned by women. So all you female founders out there who are here to invest in your entrepreneurial career, like go get them. Let's do this, you know. So this is our startup program. This is our bread and butter of what we do here at Futurepreneur. So we provide financing of up to $60,000 in an unsecured loan to those entrepreneurs between the ages of 18 and 39. We also provide you with 2 years of hand-matched mentorship. So we're going to go through that in a little bit. And we have a lot of support, including support from our entrepreneurs in residence. So across the country, we have 3 entrepreneurs in residence who can take care of all of your kind of business coaching needs from, you know, all the way out west to French-speaking Canada as well. And then, of course, there are access to specialized Futurepreneur opportunities once you join our financing program and become a Futurepreneur supported business. So these are our basic eligibility requirements. Don't let too many of these details get too daunting with you. Again, our resources that I'm going to speak about in a little bit and that I talked about last week are available to all of you to use, regardless if you go through our programming or not. We want to make sure that you have all the great resources to start planning your businesses upfront and ahead of time, even before you start getting into, you know, the nitty-gritty of looking for financing. So if you are interested, once you get to that stage, these are the eligibility requirements that we ask you for. So you need to be between the ages of 18 and 39. You need to be a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident of Canada. If you are a student, we ask that you're in your final year of studies. Only reason being, we need to ensure that we're setting you up for success. And the only way to do that with such a, you know, large loan amount would be to dedicate full-time commitment to your business. Sometimes, especially in those early years, you know, of the uni days, your first and second years are pretty overwhelming with your workload. We want to make sure that you have enough time to balance, you know, your final year of studies with starting your business. And then, is your business past the research and development stage? So for all of you who are looking to start a platform or, you know, invent a really cool product that needs some prototyping, we ask that you have an MVP, a minimum viable product, at the time of applying with us, just so you have already tested out some bugs and kinks, and we can help you take your business to launch. Can you produce the complete and viable business plan by the end of the application process? So for those of you who attended the session last week, I hope it was useful and helped you get on your way to getting started on that business plan and that really 360 view of your business. So that is a requirement of our application at the end of the day. So if you are interested in applying, you're going to need to have that done in full along with that cash flow forecast that we also talked about as well. And then, is your business less than 12 months of full-time operation? We really want to support new entrepreneurs and businesses that are just getting off the ground. So that is definitely a requirement of our program, that you've just gotten started in the last 12 months. So if you do have another job, an alternate source of income, and you are looking to simply just run a side hustle, a part-time job, or if it's a hobby or something that's been making you money on the side, and now you're ready to go ahead and say, I'm ready to invest a little bit of money into this so I can run this on the evenings or weekends or in between, you know, a part-time job, for instance, the side hustle program may be for you. So up to $15,000 is the maximum loan amount for this program. You want to ensure that you have no intention of taking the business full-time. We want to see that you can demonstrate a full-time sustainable income outside of the business. And this also comes with our 2-year mentor matching program as well. So the full-time sustainable income piece is interesting. With the side hustle program, we want to make sure you're not taking on and putting too much pressure on your personal life and your personal finances for you to start growing your side hustle. So that piece is really important. Again, here at Futurepreneur, we want to make sure you're set up for success and you're enjoying the entrepreneurial journey. It's a lot of pressure. It can be very overwhelming. So we want to make sure that when you're taking on these financing and loans situations, that you're doing that with ease and the excitement of growth for your business. So mentor matching. So this program is really great. We have a really strong vetting process for our mentors. They're experienced entrepreneurs who all have experience running a business or you know, in a particular skill set. For instance, in sales or marketing, we have some really strong entrepreneurs and business-minded people who are ready to give back to the entrepreneurial community and mentor you. So all of our entrepreneurs who go through our financing program are matched with a mentor for an up to 2-year relationship. So typically a relationship would look like once a month, you meet with your mentor. Your mentor can act as a sounding board and advisor to you as you grow your business the first couple of years. So that person can fill any skills gaps for you, or they can provide industry experience, depending on your needs. So we get to know you pretty well through our application process. And this is something that we're going to start getting to know you about really early on to find out what type of mentor you're looking for in terms of, their style, your personality fit, and what you're looking to do with your business in the first little while. So our resources. So again, if you are young at heart and you don't quite meet our age range, that's okay too. These resources are free and available for everybody to access. We have our business plan writer that we reviewed last week in a lot of detail. So please feel free to take a look there. We're going to dive in a little bit into that as a recap and a refresher for those who weren't attending the session last week. And then we have our library. These include blog posts, success stories from our previous entrepreneurs, and then of course our entrepreneurship pathway, where we have resources that can take you from ideation right through the business planning stage. This is what the business plan writer looks like for those of you who haven't seen it before. It's a really great free tool that we don't have access to. So your business plan is going to be a fluid document. It's going to be something that you're going to nurture throughout the journey of your business. I do encourage you to have a look at the business plan writer. It has a lot of tips and tricks about how to go about thinking about it and getting it done, and thinking about your business as a 360. We also have a lot of really great examples of sample business plans in the business plan writer as well. And those are all real life businesses that have gone through our Futurepreneur program as well. And then we have these samples. So this is what it would look like. We have everything from a computer software business to fashion, e-commerce, those brick and mortar food establishments, things like that. So this is a really great tool to use. Keep in mind the examples and the samples that we provided in this section are nowhere near the level of detail that we want to see as part of an application with Futurepreneur. And we ask that you really let your personality shine. We really want to get to know you as the entrepreneur, what your passions are around your business, why you're best suited to do it. And don't be modest. Let us know all of the really great things that you've done in your industry to show us that you are a leader in this industry and ready to start this business and be successful in it. So also as part of our resource toolkit, a strong cash flow is super important to your business planning process, as well as an application requirement for us here at Featurepreneur. So we ask that you create the cash flow template, which is a 24-month projection on our template that you can find on our website here. And what this does is it allows you to have a look at your business from a full 360 perspective, as well as calculate what your loan repayments are going to be, along with what you assume your sales to be in your first 2 years, as well as all of your expenses. It's a really great exercise to go through. Again, even if you're not planning on going through our financing program, I do recommend having a look at our template. It's a very, very useful, really user-friendly tool to run some numbers, run some quick math on your business to see how profitable you're really going to be. And I believe all of these links to all of these documents are going to be provided to you after the session today as well, so have no worries. So I just wanted to provide you with some application tips. Some of this is going to be a repeat from our session that we had last week, but I just wanted to highlight and reiterate some of them that I think are really important for you to remember. So again, our business plan writer and our cash flow templates are really, really great tools to look at your business from a 360. So not just for application purposes for Futurepreneur or for any other kind of organizations you're looking to apply for funding with, but it's also a really great way to think outside of your comfort zone a little bit. If you are a particular expert in a particular portion of what the business planning involves, so for instance, if you are an accountant, you may be really strong with your numbers, but you haven't really put a lot of emphasis or thought into the marketing strategy, for instance. Or you haven't thought about, your business model and your operations just yet. The business plan is going to make sure that you dot all the I's and you cross all the T's of all of the things and the segments of your business that you need to be thinking about. When putting together your business plan, the more detail is better than less, absolutely. I want to get to know you. The best business plans I've seen are where I really get to know an entrepreneur and exactly what their business looks like, especially for some of those operational types of things with your business. I want to be able to kind of envision it while I'm reading through your plan. So that needs to be very, very detailed. And then, of course, we're talking about your target market. We talked a lot about this last week. It's about understanding who your best customer is, and we want to know what your strategies are going to be to reach them. So this includes your marketing strategy. We want a very specific outline of what your top 3 to 5 marketing activities are going to be. And again, this is just beyond an application. These are some things that will really help you stay focused on your business as you start to launch. And some of these focused activities, along with some of the really great tips that Lindsay mentioned earlier on, will really help you test your model and really start growing your business in a way that's really manageable for you and not as capital intensive as maybe not having done some of those plans before. So some other ones here that I think are really important are your sales forecasts. So sales assumptions can be really tricky, especially if your business doesn't have a lot of competition or you haven't done it before or worked in the industry before. Your cash flow should be realistic and conservative, and of course always remain positive in the end. We're here for you to be successful and make money at the end of the day. So your realistic cash flow and your sales assumptions, this is something that you're going to want to spend a lot of time with, and the better your market research and your customer discovery, the better you'll be able to make some of these assumptions about your business and your sales. And don't forget to include seasonality in there as well. If your business is a little bit more, busier in the summer versus when it gets colder, things of that nature. Be sure to cater for any seasonality in your business in your sales forecasting. And then finally, the owner's draw. This is a really, really important piece. We want to make sure that when you're bootstrapping or you're getting a loan, that you are running your business and starting your business from a place of ease. And the only way you can do that is if you're still able to sustain yourself while you're running your business. So we expect as part of your application that you're still paying yourself a salary in some capacity. It doesn't have to be huge dollars. It just needs to be something that you're putting in your pocket at the end of the day to make sure you can sustain yourself while growing your business. So oftentimes entrepreneurs may feel that they want to invest everything they have back into the business, and that's really great, but we want to make sure that you are taking some pressure off of your personal financial life as well. So these are also some other things that we want you to think about when looking at resources and tools. So we have a lot of great webinars. This one happened last week. For instance, it's a cash flow webinar where we take 2 hours of your afternoon and we go through every piece of the cash flow with you. This one was hosted by our entrepreneur in residence, Dominic, who's a wealth of knowledge, has 20 years in the industry with business coaching. So these are just some of the types of webinars you can expect. We have a webinar where I go through all of this again and talk to you about how to apply with us here at Futurepreneur, like go through the physical application process with you and answer any questions you may have. And then of course we have a lot of really great webinars about business planning, the resources that are out there, talking to your customer and things of that nature. So we'll share the Eventbrite link with you if it hasn't been shared already, again, after our session today. So you can take a look and see all of the things that are coming up in your area after today's session. Keep in mind that most of the sessions right now are virtual, so it's even better. You can just log on and see if it's something that's a fit for you. Rock My Business Plan. So this is a really, really great program that we have here at Futurepreneur. It's sponsored by our partner in RBC. So RBC sponsors Rock My Business Plan, the Rock My Business Plan series with us here at Futurepreneur. So this year it's a 3-part workshop that's going to help you take your business to the next level. So essentially our entrepreneurs in residence go through 3 days of business planning with you, right from ideation to how you need to be thinking about your business through to the cash flow. So I will also send a link to this for all of you as well who are interested in registering with us. The dates are coming up in October and the beginning of November. And for all of those who do decide at some point in your entrepreneurial career to join the Futurepreneur family, we have a growth accelerator program that's available for all of our entrepreneurs. So this is a little bit of a value add, being a Futurepreneur supported business. So once you have a loan with us, you are eligible to apply to be part of our growth accelerator. This is for entrepreneurs who are, seeing some really, really great sales traction and want to take their business to the next level. We'd love to help you do that through part of this program. And as well, for some of our more experienced entrepreneurs, this is a really great opportunity. So Futurepreneur and the G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance, we have a selection committee as well that I'm part of, to find the best Canadian entrepreneurs who want to represent Canada on a global scale. So this is where all of the G20 countries come together. They have their own entrepreneurs who are part of their delegations for each of their countries. And then we all come together representing entrepreneurs across the globe with a really great conference and summit. Usually it's in a different country every year. This year was supposed to be in Saudi Arabia, but because of COVID, we are keeping it a little bit local. So a lot of the programming is virtual, and we're hoping to host the summit in person in Ottawa. So if anybody knows any experienced entrepreneurs in their life or thinks they may be a great leader and representative of our country, please reach out to Megan. She is managing this part of our program. And we are accepting applications of right up until September the 30th. It's a really great opportunity. I was fortunate enough to be a 2018 delegate in Argentina in my entrepreneur life. It was one of the best experiences of my entrepreneurial days so far. It was a really great way to connect with like-minded people, represent Canada, and just really learn a lot about doing business on an international level. So I do encourage anybody who's interested, please email Megan, or please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to provide you with more information on that. This is my contact information. So Futurepreneur, we are welcome. We love chatting with brand new entrepreneurs or people who just have an idea. If you're not quite yet an entrepreneur, but you think you have a really great idea and you want to start your business and you want to know where to start, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to set up a call with you. We can chat. Typically, how we work would be, if we realize that you're too early for our financing program and you don't quite yet need financing and need a loan, and you're still in a little bit of those earlier stages of business planning, we'll send you over to Lindsay or Tiffany at the small business centers, depending on where you live, and you'll be able to connect with them and use all of their resources and their services. And then when you're ready, either of them will send you back to me to say, okay, the entrepreneur has gone through our programming, all ready to write their business plan, and then I'll help you kind of fine tune it and get you through our financing program application. So that's it for me. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys may have about any of this.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Faria. That was very informative. So if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or put in the chat box so we can ask Faria or Lindsay.
So just to jump in, I have seen a couple of questions come in about where you're located and what you're eligible for. So as all of the grant programs that I mentioned are provincially funded, if you are out of province, unfortunately, you're not eligible to receive that specific grant funding, with the small exception of Activate. Because there is some industry provided funding that is available for entrepreneurs. It wouldn't have the exact same criteria, but for the most part, anything that's provincially funded does require you to be an Ontario resident. And in terms of which center you would want to go to, and I saw Tiffany fielding some of these questions. So most small business centers or SBECs do look at those who are residing, so either are residents or have businesses in their geographic location. So for Markham, they'd be looking at whether you're a resident or you actually have a business location in Markham. I know a lot of small business centers are very strict on those criteria. I mean, we certainly have seen people come through from North York or Scarborough for us in Vaughan, because we do straddle that border. But I will let you know that it does get very, very competitive, because at the end of the day, it is a competitive process to apply for those grants. And you are being adjudicated on local economic impact. So there are a finite number of grants, and all things created equal, if you are just on the other side of the border, on the other side of Steeles, and there's somebody who is the exact same level of application, and it's down to the last grant, but they're physically located in Vaughan, they're going to get the grant over you. And again, each small business center sets their own specific criteria. So there's a overarching criteria that match, but the vast majority of small business centers do want you to have a business, to either reside, but more importantly, have a business in their geographic area.
I have a question. Can I please ask?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, right. I am studying business economics at York University, but I am over 29. So I just wanted to know, can I get advices for the start a business, or what kind of things is over 29? Because I have seen there is an age restriction. Thank you.
Yes. So that age restriction is specifically for summer companies. So that's a youth program focused on student entrepreneurs. Certainly if you're over the age of 29 but still a student, we can support you. Or even if you're not a student and you're not within that age range, we do support through business advisory services. So if you're a York student and you're looking for startup support, you want help with business planning, maybe you're looking for connections, or you want to start building a business plan, maybe you're getting ready for market validation to go and access a program like Futurepreneur at Faria. That's something that a small business center could assist you with. So it's not contingent on your age, or we can still help. It's just a matter of the specific grant programs have specific grant criteria that are set out by the province. So summer company focused on youth entrepreneurs who specifically are students. So unfortunately, in that case, you wouldn't be eligible for the summer company program, but you are eligible to receive support from a small business center.
Okay, okay, thank you.
I see a question about Mississauga having a similar program. So just for everyone to know, there is a list of all small business centers, and I'll post it in the comments after the questions are done, that list all the small business centers located in Ontario. Like I mentioned, there's I think 54, 57 in Ontario. So just find the one that's closest to you. Sometimes depending on exactly where they are, like the one in Newmarket serves a number of municipalities, but you would want to look for the specific aspect that serves the geographic region in which you're located.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, I also had a question about like kind of going on with age. So basically I was also 18, but like much younger obviously, and a first year student. For the Futurepreneur and joining like the program, is there any limitations for us? And also for like the 11-week program that this event is, will we also be getting like is there like a way you guys are keeping attendance to get the certificate at the end?
Hi there, Serena or Nafis, did you want to talk about the certificate at the end?
Hey, sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. Yeah, so we're keeping track of all the Zoom attendance. So when you register to come on the Zoom, we're keeping track of that online, and we're going to be recording all of that. So if you've attended at least 9 out of the 11 sessions, you will qualify for the certificate, which will get handed out at the end of the 11 sessions.
Hello, I was wondering about the less than 12 months in operation. So since there's a maximum amount of time to be in operation before you get financing, is there a minimum amount of time that you need to be in operation?
Yeah, I had another question about this in the chat box as well. So for the Futurepreneur program, we require that your business be at least 12 months of full-time operation from the time you start making revenue or less. So there's no minimum time. You don't have to be making revenues or have had your business started at all. We help you everywhere from the, early stages right? Typically, our entrepreneur is about 1 to 2 months away from making their first revenues, all the way up to entrepreneurs who have been running their business 12 months full time from the time you start making sales.
Okay, great. And for the minimum viable product, is that when you say that, is that the business plan encompassing like cash flow and all that, or is that just finding out what your target market is, doing the market research?
Yeah, so it does include, your minimum viable product does include your market research, but it's separate from the business plan. A minimum viable product, for instance, if you were looking to create a platform, we would expect that you have, a basic prototype of your platform or of your product that you can test with customers. So that's what your MVP is. We want to see that you've already built whatever it is that you're looking to take to market. So in the example of a platform or a software service, we expect that you've developed that already, and then you've onboarded and tested some customers to make sure that you've worked through any fixes. So our financing typically goes towards taking your product to launch, taking it to market, revenue generating activities versus web development, for instance. That's really not going to give you a quick return on your efforts. If that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Cool.
Just to build on what Faria said about minimum viable product, almost anywhere that's looking to give you any kind of money is going to require you to have that. So even a lot of the grant programs that I mentioned, while they are available for early stage startups, there is a requirement to successfully complete those programs that you do generate revenue immediately after receiving a disbursement of that grant. So if you're so early stage that you haven't tested your product or your service, or you don't have customers, or you don't have any kind of guarantees, and you're still really, really early stage, oftentimes you're just a little bit too early to even access those grant programs. So it's more about continuing to test, maybe employing some of those tactics of bootstrapping and getting to the point where you're ready to actually hit the market before, for example, you could access the grant programs that I talked about, or getting into financing with Futurepreneur or any other kind of lending institution.
Hi, sorry, I have a question regarding the Futurepreneur. I was just curious, what, if any, is there an interest rate on the loan and what the payback terms are?
Yeah, so our payback terms, it's a 5-year term loan for the startup program. The interest rates vary. They're variable rate. So if you were interested, maybe shoot me an email when you're closer to an application, and I can give you the most current information that we have. And we'll be happy to share that with you when you're ready to get closer to an application.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
Hi, do you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So I have a question regarding the Futurepreneur, regarding specifically a patent on an innovative cannabis product. So regarding the MVP, minimal viable product, I know that the patent would work with certainty, and of course with cannabis restrictions, meaning that companies have to have a cannabis license. Would the MVP then be a licensing opportunity to other cannabis companies, or can
Yeah, Petro is your name?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, nice to meet you. So unfortunately, Petro, cannabis organizations, recreational cannabis organizations are not a Futurepreneur supported industry just yet. So your business wouldn't be eligible for financing with us.
Okay, well, an extension from that would be natural health product ingredients.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Like Corn.
Perfect. So an MVP in that situation would be simply having tested your samples of your product and having created the formulas, having your recipes and your co-packing kind of all lined up. That would be the equivalent of an MVP for that type of segment of our industry. If that makes sense, Lindsay, what do you think?
Yeah, that makes sense. So essentially, you might not be making sales, but you've got your recipes. You're almost ready to hit the market so that you can start generating revenue as quickly as possible.
Okay, that's easy. Yeah, I'll get back to you with that. Thank you.
Cool.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, so I was just wondering, what type of support would I be expecting to get if I wanted to start a service business, typically say a gym?
Are you talking about from like a small business center, from Futurepreneur, or both?
Just both in general.
So if you were looking to start a service-based business, like let's say a gym, a small business center could support you with initial stages of business planning, looking into regulatory requirements that you might need in whatever municipality you're looking to set up a physical location. And if you are looking to open a physical location, typically a small business center would be able to also help you with site selection. So looking for spaces that might fit, navigating any municipal processes that you might need to open. So if you're a gym and you need to renovate, a lot of times renovations require building permits. Building permits are issued through whatever municipality that you're setting up in, and a small business center can help you kind of navigate those processes, let you know what to expect in terms of timelines, connect you with the right people. Other support could be, just general business advisory, looking to help you set up, for example, a marketing plan, maybe make strategic connections in the community, or point you in the direction of financing programs like Futurepreneur, who might be able to assist you in terms of startup financing costs.
Okay, thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you.
Cool. Just unmute yourself if you have any questions.
Hi, I'm not sure if everyone can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I just had a question. I did notice there was a number of links that was shared in the chat box. Now, I'm not sure if your specific slides, Faria, would be available to be emailed to everyone. I do know I received the Bootstrapping 101 slides. I'm not sure if the slides that you recently spoke about are also included.
Huh?
Yeah, so
What do you mean?
oh, somebody's not muted there. So yeah, all of the information that were on my slides today were sent out in a link earlier on, and I believe they're going to be sent over again to all the attendees for today. So it's basically all the same information, just compiled on on our website there, where you're able to go ahead and dig a little bit deeper into the information that I provided as well. We have an entire section of our eligibility requirements for specific industries as well. So you can dive a little bit deeper into the links that were sent out to you earlier. And then links to our business plan writer and our cash flow forecast will be in the email that you're going to receive after the session today.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Hi, Faria. Could I ask you a question?
Sure, go for it.
You said the requirement for the financing is that you are operational for under 12 months. So if we've been in operation for 2 years or more, what options do we have from Futurepreneur?
Yeah, so you're still able to access, so again, it's 12 months from the time you start making revenue or working on your business full-time. So for instance, there are many instances where you may have started part-time for a few months or part-time for the first year until you ramped up to full-time operation, in which case you may still be eligible. But if you've just been full-time, it's been 2 years since you started making full-time revenue, then you wouldn't be eligible for our programming, but you're still able to access the resources that we have. You're able to access the business plan writer, the cash flow forecasting tool, and any kind of events around those items, you're able to access as well.
So if
Okay, thanks.
more than 2 years of revenue, Emmett, then you will also look at accessing more financing, such as through equity or through BDC, which is Business Development Bank of Canada. Typically, they're looking for someone to be in operations for at least 2 years, 2 years cash flow revenue. So there are other options. Futurepreneur obviously is just a little bit of a softer landing, and they do have fairly good terms in terms of lending institution, and that mentorship that they provide as well is a really, really big value add. But if you don't fit with Futurepreneur, then you can access other more traditional forms of financing. It's just a matter of choosing what works best for you.
Sure, appreciate that. Lindsay, if I could ask you a question actually about Starter Plus. You said it's available next year. Could you tell me a little bit about the requirements or what they expect when you go to pitch them your business?
So what the program is it is a training and mentorship program first and foremost. So there's training that you would have to attend. That's a mandatory part of application. Our application process is generally a business plan and 2 years cash flow forecasting. So it's very, very similar actually to Futurepreneur application. So we are looking at a business plan, we're looking at your cash flow forecasting, and then you're adjudicated on things like value proposition, local economic impact, other kind of criteria that are going to be articulated through the documents that you're submitting. But other than that, that's kind of the basis of the application, and then you'll apply to receive the funding. The funding's dispersed in 2 disbursements. So the first disbursement is $3,500. That's something that you have to inject immediately into your business. So it's really not meant to help you sustain. It's meant to either give you a boost in some way or look at investing in new technology, new equipment, new inventory, something like that. You'd complete the program requirements if you are successful. So the training happens first, then grant application, and then comes mentorship, tracking your sales and expenses, tracking, that you're working full-time in your business, meeting with whoever the entrepreneurship coordinator is at the time or the advisor that you've been linked with, and then going through the program for a number of months, completing those requirements, demonstrating sales, demonstrating where you spent that initial $3,500. And then at the end, you receive a $1,500 disbursement. But that's essentially the program. It probably covers 6 months in total of your time that you have to kind of commit. But the training covers first, and then once you receive the grant, you're typically tracked for about 4 months.
Okay, awesome. And then historically, like last year, for instance, do you remember when it was during the year?
So we did launch a cohort in February.
Okay.
Meetings start happening in February. I don't know if it's going to happen quite that early. So normally, I would say I can link to. I did send put a link in the chat, but I can send it again. If you're interested, there is a registration form that you can just put your information in, and then once we've got those dates solidified, we'll blast out to everyone on that list who's kind of waiting to learn more about the Starter Company Plus program. When the new dates are announced, what the registration process is, when you can expect to start.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Lindsay, Faria, both of you. Thanks.
Any other questions? Nafis, do we have any questions in the chat box that are unsolved?
I think most of them got answered. If your question didn't get answered, maybe you could just unmute yourself and we could address it right away.
I do see a question in the chat box about the Placer program for entrepreneurs who've been in business for 2+ years. So if you've been in business for 2+ years, you don't qualify for Futurepreneur. Where you can go for financing, a bank would finance you probably at that point, or Business Development Bank of Canada. So BDC, Business Development Bank of Canada, they have an online application if you're over 2 years in business and your needs are under $100,000. So it's quite an easy application. Otherwise, through a bank, you just want to meet with whatever financial institution you do your business banking with and let them know that you're looking for a loan or a line of credit or something like that for your business. Alternately, the Starter Company Plus program that I mentioned, that program would be eligible to you as well if you're over 2 years in business.
Thank you, Lindsay. Is there any other questions? If not, we will wrap up today's webinar. Lola? I see you unmuted.
Sorry, maybe someone, just a moment. For one thing, thank you very much for the sessions. I will say, however, I guess I'm a little bit confused with the purpose behind these sessions, because we spent an hour really being advertised to with services. And as a beginner, we do need to know where to find resources. We need to find sources and people to connect with. However, I thought that there would be more discussion on the techniques in either bootstrapping, just as how we did a little bit in terms of last week, where we did the business development and spoke more about the actual tasks and activities and broke out into sessions. And so I'm wondering, going forward, now that we've gotten through some of the intro about your services, are the other sessions similar, where we're learning more about what the services are, or what the actual techniques are in working or to develop a small business?
Paula, thanks for your feedback. So each one of our sessions are curated a bit differently based on the topic and specifically the conversations with our speakers. In terms of the techniques with bootstrapping, we'd be happy to have a one-on-one with you and see if we can help you out. You can send a note to yspace@euroq.ca and we can set up a one-on-one consultation on that front. We also have some, I had shared the YouTube link. We have some conversations that we've had previously around bootstrapping as well from a founder perspective that you could also check out. So those two options can be helpful. The future sessions, again, each session is, as I said, curated differently based on the speaker content and the feedback that we get from the participants, but duly noted, this feedback is very helpful for us as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that feedback as well. The techniques that were talked about at the beginning of the bootstrapping, because bootstrapping is just one way of funding your business. And bootstrapping techniques are going to be really highly dependent on the type of business that you're running. So if you are looking for specific support related to your specific business model, I'd recommend connecting with Yspace or your local small business center, and they'll be able to talk about bootstrapping in greater detail. I guess the purpose of today's bootstrapping was more just a really general overview. You know, what is it? What are some techniques that you can do to get started without going into the nitty gritty? And then obviously talking about some grants and some financing that you can access. But again, thank you for that feedback. But I would say if you're really interested in you know, how you can apply bootstrapping to your specific business model, certainly connect with Nafis or Sabrina or you know, Tiffany or myself or any of the small business centers, and we'll be able to discuss more in depth with you as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hi. I was wondering if you guys can talk a little bit more details about grants, because I think that was just, it was really high level. We focused a lot on loans and lending. So if you can give some more information on grants, even for those, because our age, like I'm 39 right now. So when does the cutoff? Is it if I turn 40 next year, does that mean I'm no longer eligible? So if we can just even just really go into more detail about the grants, I think would be really helpful, as that was kind of the title of the webinar. And I think this, a lot of the focus was on loans and specific programming. So I kind of feel the same way.
The specific programming that we talked about is programming that's accessible through the Small Business Center. So it is provincially funded grant opportunities. So if you're 39 right now, the cutoff, for example, for Futurepreneurs is 39, and that's financing, not a grant. But a grant opportunities such as Starter Company Plus or Activate or Digital Boost, like Starter Company Plus is a provincially funded grant program that's run through small business centers. Summer Company you would not be eligible for because you're outside of that age category, but again, a provincially funded grant category. Digital Boost is just you know, a different spin on a Starter Company Plus that's specific to Vaughan, which is what I can speak to because that's where I'm from. And then Activate Vaughan again is specific to Vaughan, no age limit on it. But in terms of grants, those are provincially funded grant opportunities. Innovation Canada does have a really great portal that you can access. And I'm sure I can find the link for it, but if you Google Innovation Canada grant portal, where you put in your information and you would type in the type of business, you know, any other criteria around you, and it's going to come out with potential funding opportunities that you may or may not be eligible for. If I'm going to speak very frankly, there's not a ton of free money out there for you. It really does depend on the stage of business that you're at. There are private companies or private lenders that do have some private grant opportunities, but those do come and go. And those opportunities, you know, the criteria will differ a lot. Often they're looking for you to have been in business for a little bit of time, so they're not looking for you to really grant startups. Sometimes they're focused on women-led small business or business. Sometimes there's a different focus, but in terms of, I guess, private grant opportunities, it's really hard to keep accurate track of all those that are coming out. But for provincial grant opportunities, Starter Company Plus and Summer Company are really the go-tos. And then, you know, variations of those programs. And again, they're offered at each of the small business centers. But the innovation portal would have those. And Summer Company and Starter Company are run across the province. They're just disseminated by each individual small business center. So hopefully that clarifies a little bit about grants for you.
Hi, I had a question. For the grants that you provide, are there any restrictions on how much you can use for hiring talent?
There is not necessarily. So typically Starter Company Plus, it's again split into 2 disbursements. So if it's a $5,000 grant, you get a $3,500 disbursement up front. So you do have to spend that. Typically there's a provision in there that you can only spend up to 90% on one thing. And when you're hiring employees, typically that grant can't be used towards employer contributions to their wages. So you couldn't use it towards what are referred to as MERCs. So, you know, the employer contribution for EI, CPP, but it would have to be for a new hire as well. So depending on the small business center that you're looking to apply for that kind of program through, that would be available. If you're specifically looking for grants to hire, MyTax, MITACS is another really great resource. They do provide some funding if you are looking to hire. And specifically within innovation, IRAP does provide some grant funding to hire. But again, that's pretty specific. It's for tech-run businesses. It's not applicable to everybody. MyTax would be worth checking out if you are looking to hire, MITACS. There can be some grant funding available. Starter Company Plus grants can be used towards the hiring of new employees, but you'd want to check with the specific center that you're looking to apply through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I wanted to know if you knew of grants for fashion, in the field of fashion business.
Offhand, I can't think of anything specifically that focuses on fashion, but again, Starter Company Plus, Summer Company, they're generally sector agnostic. There might be some specific criteria, like the Digital Boost program is focusing on those with brick and mortar locations, or you know, Activate Vaughan is focusing on innovation-led and market solutions. But Starter Company Plus general program is sector agnostic. Summer Company is also sector agnostic. So those are, depending on where you're at, potential options. You, but
I'm in North York, so I'll look if they have the similar program as you.
Okay.
I'll have to check out. Thanks.
Hi, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yep. So every time we have to attend, do we have to go through the event website to register for the Zoom classes, or is there another option for attending?
Yeah,
so do we have to go through everything, like register email, register all that every time?
Yeah, so for each specific session, you do have to register individually online. That allows us to track all of the participants and the audience, and also share the specific event links with you.
Okay, so register through the event tribute every time, right?
That's correct, yeah. So
okay.
I had posted the link to the future sessions. I'll post it again over here on chat that you could go through and make sure that you're signed up for the future events.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say before I go that I appreciate the sessions, I do, and that both professionals that we have here are quite knowledgeable about their industry and about their, you know, and what they've offered. And I look forward to the other sessions. You know, it was interesting, the other comments were about the grants. We'd appreciate, I guess, a little bit more information on that. And I guess because of your sector, or primarily your target market, last week it was over 200 people, and this week, was just under 200. But they're all over the place. They're from out of the country as well as in. So for those who are presenting, for us people who are above your age range, maybe some of your information can be shared. It's not necessarily in your slides, or maybe you update your slides where you can just share a little bit about how specifically can you help folks that are not, within that age range, whether it's 29 or 39 or whatever the case may be. I don't want to, it's just sometimes I feel maybe a little deflated. It's like, oh shucks, darn it. I'm not within that age range, but you do take the time to say, we can help you. We have access to your resources, but maybe not some of your specific programs. But if you can speak specifically maybe to those folks that don't quite fit, like the summer programs or, the targeted packages that you have, that'll help a little bit. But I do thank you both. You're very good presenters and the information is great. And I know that if we were to contact you, or if I were to contact you, you'll be very helpful. So I also appreciate your time, because it takes a lot to actually prepare and to spend some time with us. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah. So Paula, just on the grant programs, again, at least in my slides, I try to really only the summer company program is age specific. Unfortunately, Futurepreneur is youth focused, and so their age limit is set at 18 to 39, and there's not, Futurepreneur doesn't have another offering, I guess. So like I mentioned, BDC or banks would be another alternative to financing other than Futurepreneur if you're outside that age range. But just in terms of that specific support or what's available to you, so the Starter Company Plus program, which I just talked a little bit at length about, it has no age limit to it other than you have to be above 18. There are some other criteria, but in terms of age, that's it, above 18. And then in terms of specific, I guess, support that we can offer to you, it really depends on what support you're looking for. But in terms of financing, a provincially funded small business center doesn't provide financing. So a similar organization like Futurepreneur, which specifically focuses on youth, or Business Development Bank of Canada, or a financial institution, they would all offer solutions for that. But really, what I hope that I've been able to drive home is a small business center is kind of a one-stop shop to connect you with the right resources that you need. That's a little bit more specific. So, if you were to reach out to wherever you're located, whether that be Vaughan or Markham or Barrie or Brampton or Mississauga, they each have a small business center, and to reach out to them and say, hey, this is the type of business that I have. This is the support that I'm looking for. So I need help. Business planning, I need help doing my cash flow, I need help doing my marketing plan, or I need help accessing financing, potentially grants. Again, grants are actually very hard to come by. Everybody wants free money and there's not a lot out there for you, but that would be a really great way. It's just really hard to talk to the needs of more 150 plus people on an individual basis. But if you feel like you didn't get quite the support that you were looking for, then to reach out to your local small business center would be a great next step for you to do.
I'll add, I've also just dropped a link to, it's a very nice portal that, through FedDev, where you can go through and kind of look at the types of support that you're looking for your business. So that's another really cool tool that you could use, Paula. Again, there are many programs that aren't specific to age or specific criterias. Each grant has its own criteria of how they're funding and who they're funding. So there are definitely options there. Don't feel deflated. Definitely look at the different options and connect with the advisors that's local to you, because they're really well equipped to help you navigate the grant landscape.
I had a question. In various presentation, there was a date for a past event, and right now I'm on the Futurepreneur website, and I was wondering I don't know how to find the next event. Like if we want to attend the workshop with the Futurepreneur.
Yeah, so all of our upcoming workshops are on our Eventbrite. So if you go to Eventbrite and you search Futurepreneur, you'll see all of our upcoming events across the country. So you can choose, they're all virtual now, so you can choose whichever time zone works for you, as well as, you know, whatever kind of workshop, you know, you're interested in right now. And then every few weeks, we keep adding to the roster there. So keep checking
Okay,
back.
so I go on Futurepreneur, not on the website.
No, you go to Eventbrite. I'll try to find a link.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. I'm getting confused.
Yeah,
Okay.
Eventbrite
Sure.
will give you the most, the latest information, the most up to date.
Thank you.
Cool.
Hi, I have a question for Lindsay.
Go ahead.
So earlier on, you mentioned that there is a way that we could get on the mailing list for a startup company plus, so that when you start accepting applications, you could, you know, email blast us. So how do we get on that email list?
I will drop the link again, but it's on specifically on our website, and that's for our Startup Company Plus. So if you're located in Vaughan or you know, right around the border, I would say sign up for that. Otherwise, it would be connecting with your local small business center. But what I'll do is I'll drop that link again. And there's a link where it says, you know, applications have closed, but, you know, go here. And it's just a form that you'd fill out. And once we have more information on when exactly that program's launching and what those dates are and, you know, how to get involved once it does relaunch, we'll be sure to share that with you. So I'll just drop that link in the chat box in just a second, but I'll share that with you.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other questions?
I have one quick question, if you don't mind. Yeah, so there's one workshop date that I can register to. It's the one on October 29th. It says sales is ended on Eventbrite. So I'm just wondering if it's going to reopen again, because I'd like to attend that event.
Yeah, Justin, we probably hit the Eventbrite limit there, but what we'll do is we'll make sure we increase the ticket limit on the back end, and you should be able to sign up for that. Just give us 24 hours. We'll just need to update the Eventbrite, and you can sign up. Maybe check back tomorrow afternoon, and you should be able to sign up.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all the info you provided today.
Thank you, Justin.
Do you have any other questions? If we don't have any question, we will wrap up today's webinar. Good. Sounds like we're, before we go, Nafis, would you mind share the last PowerPoint we have? Thank you, Nafis. Again, thank you, Faria and Lindsay. That was a very good webinar. Thank you for your time, and we're so glad to have you guys on in the webinar. So our upcoming webinar will be on October 1st about prototype development and wireframing. So feel free to register on online on our website, the LaunchYU website. And that's it. Thank you everyone for attending, and looking forward to see you in next session.